Everybody here was, of course, ignored and brushed aside for chiefly politically correct reasons. Terry wants to know where the money's coming from. And yes, you've got to put money in, you've got to stop money being wasted. I mentioned health tourism. OK, here's a fact. And I'm sure the other people will be mortified that I dare to talk about it. There are 7,000 diagnoses in this country every year for people who are HIV positive, which is not a good place for any of them to be, I know. But 60% of them are not British nationals. You can come into Britain from anywhere in the world and get diagnosed with HIV and get the retroviral drugs that cost up to £25,000 per year per patient. I know there are some horrible things happening in many parts of the world, but what we need to do is to put the National Health Service there for British people and families who in many cases have paid into this system for decades.
Thank you. Liam Wood.
This kind of scaremongering rhetoric is dangerous.
It's a fact.
It's dangerous, it divides communities and it creates stigma to people who are ill, and I think you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Well, I'm sorry, we've got to put our own people first. I mean, would you, Leanne, open it up to 17,000 people, 27,000 people? The question is, how do we fund the NHS? And if up to £2 billion a year is being lost on health tourism, surely that is a very real problem.
You know, when somebody is diagnosed with a dreadful illness, my instinct is to view them as a human being, not consider what country they come from. Exactly. But I want to go back to something Ed Miliband said earlier on. He said there should be limits on the privatisation of the National Health Service. I'm sorry, Ed, I take a very different view. There should be no privatisation of the health service. Our National Health Service is far too precious to give it up for private profit. And to Nick Clegg, you legislated to allow 49% of hospital beds to be used by the private sector. So my message to people in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, if there are SNP MPs in the House of Commons after the election and you want to roll back the tide of privatisation, we will be your allies in doing that.